If you own anything other than a Caravelle or a higher spec Type 25 or T3, then your floor mats in the cab are going to look something like this. Well, I'm here to tell you there is another option. I'm Lee, this is Coombe Valley Campers, and today we're going to be showing you how to fit this beautiful carpet set and transform your cab. So if you drive a VW T3 or Type 25, be that a single cab pickup or a docker or even a van or camper van, there are not many options in the way of cab carpets or cab mats. We've all seen the rubber mats that basically break or deteriorate over time, and they're difficult to clean and look pretty shabby even when they are cleaned up. Well, we've got this here. This is the premium carpet set from Heritage Parts. It's actually made by Newton Commercial, and both Heritage and Newton Commercial have been kind enough to give us one of these kits to put in the van behind me. Now, if you've not seen it before, this is our Project T3. We've done plenty of videos on this in the past, and we've covered lots of different elements from sound deadening to fitting seatbelts and things like that. Now, it's just about to go out the door. It doesn't look very nearly finished, but it is very nearly finished. And one of the last jobs we've got to do is put this cab carpet in. And much like maybe yours is, the original cab mat just completely fell apart when we took it out. You know, it's 30 plus years old, it's in a commercial, or what was a commercial vehicle, and it just completely fell to bits. So we've got this cab carpet set. The one you're looking at in particular is specifically for a diesel or turbo diesel van, so it's got this rather large hump in the centre, and this is to clear, I guess, the transmission tunnel you'd call it, or where your gear lever goes through the front, and they vary. So if you do want to order one, make sure you either chat with the guys at Heritage, or you look through the list of compatible vans and you get the right one for your model, because they all do differ, but they're superb actually. I own a Caravelle personally, and the blue carpet that's in it is pretty shabby, so when I come to redoing that van, I will be choosing one of these, and they are highly engineered to fit. I'd be working very, very hard to get these right, and they are, I keep going on about it, they're just exquisite. I was given actually 2 different sets, and there are 2 different qualities of carpet you see here. Now, this one is a high, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a square weave, so it's a really dense, very fine carpet, whereas this one here actually looks more like the cab carpet or the cab mats you'd say buy from, say, Halfords, for example. I know that I don't want to degrade any of this stuff, but it's certainly a different quality of material. This is a rougher feel, and this is definitely the more refined feel. So it's all here. We've obviously got 2 different slightly coloured greys. There is brown available, and there are other colours available on the website as well. But this one, it all comes as one kit. Half of it's going to be glued down, and we'll show you that process later, and the rest of it is just lift in and lift down. But before the cab carpet actually goes down, there is an optional underlay or sound deadening kit. What I'm going to do now is clear this all off the table, lay out the underlay kit, and show you that. So let's go and do it. Before we lay any of the new carpet down, we're going to be applying this front underfelt kit. Now, again, as I said before, this is a optional extra, and you would have seen already that we have sound deadened the front of this cab. We've got a video on how we sound deaden the front of this cab already. So this looks like a pretty comprehensive kit already, which is going to be excellent. So, central tunnel, it's almost a sisal type felt kit, and we've got all the different elements here. I'm going to guess this is going to be a bit of a jigsaw puzzle. However, that is clearly driver's cab mat. Right, let me put it around the other way. Driver's cab mat, centre console. That is probably like a wheel arch or something. Something like that. passenger mat. Yeah, there you go. And again, another wheel arch piece. And yeah, lots of little bits and pieces ready to fill in the gaps. This is going to be quite interesting. But yeah, designed for giving some nice cushioning under the carpet kit and for soundproofing as well. So we've already got the Dodo hex mat and silent coat already applied to all the areas in the cab. That's come out really, really nicely. And then it's going to be a case of applying all of these. So let me show you inside. I'm not going to go into stripping the vehicle down because, as you can see, we're at the point of rebuilding this one. But if you are fitting this new carpet set and even the Underfelt kit, I would recommend that you clean it throughout. You strip all the interior out, the seats, any form of cab mat, and also I'd get any leaks repaired beforehand, because obviously the felt kit and the carpet kit, that would soak up any water like a sponge. And T3s that haven't had any windscreen work done or have got leaky roofs and things like that are quite susceptible to water in the footwells. This one in particular has been completely restored on the bodywork, and we know it's not leaking, so great start. Secondly, we've done all the sound deadening onto a clean and dry floor. The sound deadening itself is clean and dry, and then we're just going to be laying down the mats and folding it out and forming it round where we need to. Really looking forward to making a start, but I just want to point out that if you do consider doing any of this kit, certainly make sure it is leak free, renew your seals beforehand, and that it's clean and dry and stripped out. This one, again, is all completely ready to go, so let's make a start. The tools and PPE you are going to need today are as follows. You're going to need some high temperature contact adhesive. So this is a spray adhesive, and when you're using it, you're going to need a decent face mask or respirator. To cut and trim any carpet or sound deadening, you're going to need a blade or a knife with fresh blades, a pair of scissors. To undo or do up trim, you're going to need a Phillips screwdriver. You're also going to need a form of pry tool, such as a flat-bladed pick tool, a mallet, a roller to get your carpet and sound deadening down in some edges, and potentially you're going to need some clamps as well. The first piece that you're going to find in your bag that, I don't know, might rattle your brains a bit, is this bag of just bits. Now we looked at them and was like, oh God, where the hell do they go? But with a little bit of instruction, it's quite clear. Basically, these are fillers for all the indents in your van, and they are one of the first things that go down. What we're going to do, I think, is just empty them in there, and you've got to find the bits that match the slots on your floor. There you go, look. So they all fit in lovely, and they're to make the whole floor nice and level. So I think that's going to be our first port of call. Organising these slightly so they're in a kind of an order, and then we'll glue them down. What we're going to be gluing them down with is the high temp spray adhesive, which you've seen before, and that's why I'm wearing my mask. Yeah, so give us a minute, we shall find all the bits that fit in the holes and yeah, glue them in. That'll be stage one.
So if you're doing this yourself and you haven't done this level of sound deadening first, obviously these trenches, I guess, would be a bit deeper and a bit easier to find in your particular van. They might even fit, or might be a bit easier to find, like I say, in terms of routing them, but I think it's gonna take a couple of minutes, and yeah, the result will be great by the time it's done. It's just sorting this out, I guess. It's just a bit of puzzle making, isn't it? A bit of Lego, a bit of puzzling, but the results will be worth it.
So it's a bit of a process of elimination. I'm struggling a little bit just to find out where they're going. I do have destructions, but now it's good to sort of see where you've got your indents to fill in. Now, I've made it harder for myself, obviously, because I've got that sound deadening on top. And some people will argue, now I've got that sound deadening, I don't need this, but to hell with it, we're just going for it. So I've now got one bit to go here, another to go there. We have one and then 2. And the reason for this big infill here, see this big lump? It's to basically make this whole level about the same. So when the large bit at the end goes over, it's all one level. And that's again the difference when it comes to caravels. If you've owned a caravel or you've owned a a standard van with a rubber floor mat, you'll notice that the caravel, the floor's almost completely level for your feet when your feet are resting on that mat. And this is what these bits are for. They're there to make it all level and obviously to kill sound as well. So a very extensive kit. So let's lay that in there, and then we'll get the last bit on top and you'll see how that's filled in those gaps nicely. So I've had another quick look through the instructions or the directions, and because this is a right-hand drive, this little tab here needs to be taken off. I'm tempted also to just trim a little bit out of here, just to give this steering linkage just a bit more clearance. But apart from that, she's going in absolutely lovely. I mean, what a nice kit. It's leveled out the floor entirely. Just can't wait to get the mats in now, see the finished result. But there's a bit more work. I think because this is a right-hand drive late diesel, some of these aren't matching up entirely because I think this tunnel is a slightly different pressing to later ones. So with the remaining bits I've got left, I'm just going to stick them or cut them where I think is best suited, and I'm just going to use a Stanley knife or a scissors and then get them fitting in those little crevices and trenches real nice. I'll put a couple up in here as well, so when that next piece of underlay goes on top of this, again it's all nice and level. So yeah, let's get cutting. So I've got 4 bits left, and I guess you could argue that I could stick them all somewhere else that might make a little bit of difference, but like you said, we've got lots of sound deadening in there anyway, and these infill bits are just to make the whole carpet basically level. So the last bit is this large centre section, and we've given it a trial fit already, and it fits best in this van in particular with the brown side up, and it's down to these 2 flaps here. There's these 2 sort of wings on the side of it, and if it's round the other way, this doesn't fit right that side, and this flap doesn't fit right this side. So in this particular van, we've left the brown side up. Now, there's obviously a big handbrake in the way, and we need to cut out a section, but what this has got is cutouts already for it. So all I need to do is make a simple cut there, one there, and then there's another cutout just here. So all I need to do is basically join the dots. Boom. So put that to one side. Make sure this line's tucked in there nicely. Make sure it's fitting around the handbrake nicely, it's not interfering with anything. Oh, let's get it around that first. I'll pull that gaiter through. And then there you go. that all fits rather nicely in there. So next stage is we're going to glue that down, and then we'll get onto the exciting part, which is laying the top layer of carpet, which I can't wait. But this is obviously very necessary. If you have an original felt kit that's in good condition, you won't actually need to use this, but to have this felt kit just brings everything up at the same level, and yeah, makes a really nice job of it. Absolutely love it already, love the kit. The first piece that we're going to fit is this driver's side seat box carpet. Now, there's a couple of things you're going to have to look for here, and it's basically the fit and finish. We've cleaned and prepped, and where there was old adhesive and carpet and stuff like that and fluffy bits, we've just sanded it off, you can see. This area is all new metal, and it's all been cleaned and prepped. This is what happened during the restoration stage, so it's all clean and ready to go. It's cut beautifully. You can obviously see it's all CNC cut here, and then it's stitched, and it's got the heat welding parts and everything else as well. So the first bit we're going to do is make an adjustment to this lip, actually. Now that lip there is originally for the rubber trim. So when you fit the rubber trims to these seat boxes and wheel arches, they actually fit in that point there. Now this carpet has got a cardboard lip, and what that's got to do is fit in there. Alright, but we're not going to fit that in just yet because there's tabs in the way, there's all sorts of stuff in the way. That can be knocked back in if you're concerned with how far it sticks out, and I'm going to actually pull that out a bit more, and then I can clear that groove of just the last bits of crap in there. You want to start gluing from this edge here. So the edge you're concerned about is fitting all along here nicely, and then around this corner in here. But obviously it's quite difficult to get this piece of trim in afterwards. So what I am actually going to do is put the trim in there first, make sure that's established and sat in there right, and then we'll glue, and then we'll sort of fold the carpet down and round. It's going to be a pain. It's going to be difficult, but I don't feel... I'll tell you what I'm going to do actually. No, we'll glue this corner in first, down here, and then we'll see how that goes. But that's going to be a real pain to try and get in there and looking nice and right after everything else has been glued in, but I could be wrong. So we've got two sides to try, so let's try this method first. So in that case, we will completely glue this section of carpet, not this bit because that's going to be a lid over here. We'll glue all the metalwork first, then we'll glue this. We'll let them both release the vapour, because obviously there is a solution in there which helps the glue get out of the can. That's got to vaporise, and then the two parts will stick together. It's contact adhesive, so you've got to glue both parts. So glue, glue, stick down, and then we'll put the trim in.
You've got to take note of where your seatbelt points are as well. I probably won't be covering that because you might have an aftermarket seat or whatever, which might have another seatbelt buckle up here, but just take note of where your seatbelt bolts are. You can actually, if you see my hand there, you can actually see, so you'll be able to poke something through, find the hole, and then trim that out with a sharp blade. And the same will apply to the seatbelt bolts up here as well. You'll just be able to push something through from the bottom, and then you'll be able to cut out with a sharp Stanley blade, or a X-Acto knife, I think they're called as well. If it's going to make your life easier, you can remove that handbrake. It's two 13mm bolts down there, and that'll help you manoeuvre around that bit. It's something I might do later. Let's see how tricky it is first. And there's also these points here as well. They're the trim points at which the rubber mat slotted into. I might just knock them flat with a rubber mallet. I'm going to leave this little bit free because we're going to be carpeting that wheel arch box as well, and the wheel arch box just tucks in here, so just take note, don't carpet that bit just yet. So starting from this edge then, let's get that right in there. You can see we've got some sound deadening and underlay here. I've trimmed it out right at the edge so you can get the carpet right on the floor. So I'm giving it a bit of tension here, so pulling it tight as I go. And there you go, that's matched up really nicely here. I'm not going to stick this bit down till last, but if I get that pressed in, fits that corner real nice. And that flap will sit there just beautifully, and then those two bits will sit there nice. I'll probably use a clamp on those, just to get them nice. There we go, that's the first bit in and done. What an improvement. I don't think you want dogs in here now, but what an improvement on what it was. So, like I said, I'm now going to try and put that trim in. Nice and gently. Now, there are a couple of different options to you when it comes to cleaning up the inside of your van, but man, that looks nice. That is for an off-the-shelf kit. Now you can obviously get your carpet kit custom made, which will cost you probably a lot more than this. In fact, guaranteed to cost you a lot more than this. But as an off-the-shelf kit, first bit stuck down, really, really, really nice. So, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go and get my rubber mallet. I'm going to push that in there, and then I'm going to knock that trim back in. I'm going to knock that trim back in there, like I said, and then I'm going to get a couple of clamps as well, just make sure that's stuck down really nice.
Now that bit's in and done and we're quite happy with how it looks, I'm going to be installing the wheel arch piece. Now really I should have done that first, but I wanted to show you this difficult area and I wasn't sure how it was going to go. Plus this has got a Velcro flap which connects onto here. So as with this piece, we are going to be gluing the back, we're going to be gluing the wheel arch, and then we're going to be starting from this back edge because you've got a nice clean back edge down here, and then we're just going to be applying it, sticking it, if we need to use the tools or the rollers just to get it down, but we are making sure to keep this beaded edge right against this arch here. You see there's a nice big lip there, so we'll keep that beaded edge against there. Make sure that the Velcro edge fits down here and that everything is just fitting really, really nicely. You've got to watch out for this section here as well. It's why there is a piece of plastic trim. It raises the seat just a touch, so it will clear the carpet. So whatever part you really concentrate on sticking down, it's going to be here, because if you're running your seat in and out, it's going to be catching on that bit the whole time. So let's start with the glue and then we can work it out from there. Excellent, first wheel tub done, and once again, I can't say enough, awesome gear. All the lines match up, the seat rails are clear and uninterrupted, it fits beautifully around the edge. You've got a bit of a lip there to sort of hide underneath the seat once you've got your seat in. What more can I say? Let's go and do the other side and then we'll bring it back for laying the final piece in the front. And the seat tubs are done and they are looking pretty fine. I really like them. It'll all set it off once the seats are in, but the next thing is the main piece of carpet. Now, the main piece of carpet is the bit that goes over the gear lever down into the footwells, and it's all one piece, and that's the bit you don't glue down, okay? So what we will be doing is, yeah, like I say, slotting it over the gear lever first and then fitting it up in the arches. One of the things we're going to do first actually is disconnect the rod on the back of the throttle pedal, and then once it comes to that point we'll be able to slot it right down over there. So let's go and do that bit first. It took a bit of fidgeting, moving around. I actually sat down and was pushing my foot into the corners just so it was nice and settled. But for the most part, that carpet mat is in. There's two more bits I'm just going to do. See these little locating dowels, or whatever you want to call them? I'm basically going to make a very small incision right in the top corner there. So that carpet will locate right over those. So there's one this side and there's one the other. I might just round the corners out here. I might just take a little slice, just an extra bite out of two edges of this, just so there's a bit more room around that gate so it doesn't look all bunched up and wrinkly like it is there. But apart from that, that's it for this main piece. Like I say, I'll make those little modifications and then we'll move on to this back piece, sorry, yeah, the latter part of the walkthrough, and then the rear piece, and then that's it, done. There are two more parts of the carpet left after we've put the seat boxes and the main cab carpet in. One is the central tunnel, which will fit just about there, and the other is this rectangle piece, which fits perfectly in here. However, there's a couple of modifications we're going to need to do first. For the main tunnel, we're going to need to cut out this handbrake mark. Now, they've been very good in actually already supplying a cutout. Looks like the carpet's been a bit wrinkled in shipping, but we've got to establish which side we need that handbrake cutout on, and and it's definitely this side. So I'm going to go ahead, cut out that handbrake mark. Cool. And that should, all being well, go over that handbrake. Now, as you can see, it's got a nice little rubber edge, and that's designed to just meet up with that piece of carpet there. And then this piece here, which just folds over the edge, and I'll show you that in a minute. So, let's get it fed over. It's a bit of a wiggle. Look at that, that cutout works perfectly, and once you've got the handbrake cover on there as well, you'll never notice any difference. The front of that carpet lines up beautifully with the front of the cab, so that's a good start there. And then the last bit is this here. And if you took a carpet out, or you took your rubber mat out, there's a metal filler strip which fits into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 holes. So you could just leave it like that and glue it down. However, I'd like to put the metal strip back on. This piece here will glue in there. However, it's a bit longer than I want. I mean, I could stuff it in there, or I could cut this out and bring it up to here. However, I'm just going to, I've already got almost guidelines in there as well, so I'm literally just going to cut it on this line here. Just do an initial line. I reckon that blade's had it anyway. Let me go and get a fresh blade, I'll be back. Nice fresh blade out of the pack. It's in there. Oh, there you go, loads better. Amazing. Right, so that's going to go just in there. First of all, let's give it a bit of glue. The last bit of trim to pop on was this metal strip. Now that came off, that would join the rubber mat at the back of the van, or at least hold down the rubber mat at the back of the van. And you can put it on this. However, I don't think I'm going to. I think we're just going to use the spray adhesive to just lay that strip down. I think that'll be adequate. We'll keep this, and we'll keep it with the van, because this is a customer's van after all, so if he chooses to put this in, he can. However, I feel that this seam that we were set to cover up would look a lot better. I mean, that will go on there, and it will all look lovely, but I just feel it would be better without today. So I'm just going to spray it and stick it. And there we go. I think once we've removed some of that glue with a bit of panel wipe or brake clean, whatever you want to choose, we've got the handbrake cover on and we've put the last bits of the dash in. That'll look super nice. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to clean it up, clean any overspray, give it a quick brush or a hoover. I'll put the trim pieces on, handbrake cover, everything else, and then we'll come back and say goodbye. And there we have it, completely transformed the cab of the van. And I can tell you from experience that driving a van with a full carpet set and sound deadening is just miles apart from one that doesn't have it. We fitted, well, it's already got sound deadening from Dodo Map. It has the Underfelt layer, so it's the felt layer underneath, and that is designed to raise all the levels in the cab floor so they're all decent, basically. When you put your feet in the floor mats, your feet aren't all going to be at angles, they're just going to lay nice and flat in the cab, so it makes your passengers and you more comfortable. And it's going to be an excellent sound deadener as well. And having the carpet in here, it's a bit like, I don't know, walking into an empty room with no furniture. It's all a bit echoey and boomy, but once you've got the carpet down, it absorbs all of that sound as well, so just makes for a nicer place to be. I want to say thank you to Heritage and the guys at Newton Commercial for helping us out with this week's video and supplying the carpet. It's excellent kit, and we will leave a link down below where you can purchase this carpet. And don't forget, if you are ordering it, there's lots of different variations for your van year, your van engine model, and obviously left or right hand drive as well. Thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you to all our patrons as ever. Thank you for supporting us, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.